she doesn't really say much, but when she does, the meaning behind every single word that she says is so much deeper than on paper. It was terrifying, but I hope we did a great job.
Here we are. You and I discussed season 1 years ago at this point, and I had to address the fact that I had asked you about what part of the Dutton legacy do you want Alex to carve out? What do you want people to learn from Alex? And your response was you wanted people to learn how to follow their hearts more often. The thing is, that hasn't really worked out for Alex or Spencer just yet. So I wanted to ask, do you stand by that response when we're going into season 2?
I do. I think the thing I love most about her is how bravely she lives her life. Regardless of how tumultuous their journey has been, at the end of the day, what are we doing if we're not living fully and truthfully? What is life all about if not to follow your dreams and to follow your heart and to love so fiercely? Because she's happy with her decisions. As hard as it gets and as hard as it might get, I think that she wouldn't be doing it so fiercely and ferociously if it didn't feel true to her. I stand by it.
Aminah, like so many, I've sung your praises for your performance in season 1 because Teonna is just such a loaded and heavy role. We often forget she's supposed to be 16 years old. Early in season 2, though, we get to see a little bit more of the teenager in her. Can you talk about how in season 2 you were perhaps able to explore a different side of Teonna?
Absolutely, it is a completely different side of her that has always been there, but now she finally feels a little safer to explore that part of her. I think it's so sweet, because when you're a teenager, I mean, honestly, I don't know how teenagers are these days, but 16, I think I had my first kiss at 15?
I don't
14?
know.
I don't know. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, I think it's really important to see the side of her, not only for herself, but for the audience and for the babies too, because you don't witness pure, innocent, young, indigenous, native, brown, black love. Queer love too. It's not something that is really focused on in Hollywood. So yeah, seeing this little side of her is something I'm really excited about. I'm excited to see what the viewers say.
There's been expectations whenever it comes to female characters in Taylor Sheridan shows. And of course, your character maybe seems like a perfect fit when it comes to those expectations. Can you discuss why she is another excellent addition to the catalog of female characters within this universe?
Probably because Taylor wrote her. I think one thing that is part of Taylor's magic is his curiosity. The fact that he's able to be so curious about so many different stories and so many different elements that make up these stories, and that he's willing to excavate and till that soil to bring them to life, is why we're all enjoying the riches as viewers. You're right, there's just an expectation for anything he does that it's going to be top-notch. And so I didn't quite know what that meant to me. How exactly am I supposed to please and make his vision come to life properly? And I was so glad there was a gap between understanding that I was going to get the privilege of being a part of it and before we started work, because I felt like I was able to arm myself with information and a sort of relaxation, so that when I showed up on set, it really became about just listening better and finding out what happened, rather than mapping like a constellation of this is how we'll start and this is how we'll get to the end.
A little time has passed in between the finale and the season 2 premiere, not to mention, of course, the time that's passed in the real world. How would you say that Alex has grown as a person in the quote unquote off season?
She's learning in this off season when, between the time we see her last and now in season 2, she's learning how to figure things out for herself, how to fend for herself. She doesn't have Spencer by her side to solve the problem, to shoot the lion. She's got to do it on her own. And I think she's broken. I think she's deeply broken, but she's like getting ready to harness all the strength in the world that she has to get to where she needs to go. It's a much more grounded version of Alex that we see this season. It's not as like naive and goofy to the world around her. It's like she's like, all right, let's do it. And this is going to be hard.
We have to see Alex reunite with Spencer. At least we hope. We never know with Sheridan. There might be a little bit of a tragedy, but I'm holding out hope. But we have to see, I'm assuming, a scene where, you know, Alex and Kara meet, or at least Alex is going to meet her future family. So if we don't get to see that, I'm not asking for any spoilers, but why do you think Alex is a perfect fit for the Duttons?
I think she embodies their just fierce devotion to family and to one another. I think, you know, she's got this fiery side. That's very much a Kara Dutton trait as well. She did grow up in a privileged upbringing, but she's willing to work. She's willing to do whatever she has to be because she loves Spencer and she wants that life. She wants adventure. She wants to be free. I think she's got this grit that the Duttons just inherently have. And so I think she's a pretty good fit. I think she's a good fit to the family, personally.
Aminah, when I've been able to speak to other cast members about the legacy and being a part of the Dutton legacy, we obviously get a little bit more about the Rainwater legacy now. So I'm very curious what you wanted to include in your performance that perhaps links Teonna to other Rainwaters or Gil's performance in Yellowstone.
I mean, she's the matriarch. She is the very beginning that you're seeing in this Yellowstone universe. So I really wanted her to be at her fullest. I wanted her to be every single thing you could ever think about her. I needed her to be 100 because she's informing anyone that's coming that ends at Thomas Rainwater, right? And he has a very, as you can see the yokeness of them with the way that they use their words and the way that they let their silence speak, and it speaks volumes. But there's always a hidden, not a hidden, it's a very apparent undertone of fierceness and strength that is unmatchable, that I really feel like I had to do, you know, especially with the eye. She doesn't really say much, but when she does, the meaning behind every single word that she says is so much deeper than on paper. It was terrifying, but I hope we did a great job.
This ranch will drive you to your death.
We all sacrificed a lot, but this fight ain't over.